And here we are, guys. It's already the finale of Season 2. It's Episode 3, Fly the Nest with Norwich City. How will Max Aarons, Andrew Omobamidele, Josh Martin and Bali Mumba have got on? Will any of them have had a glorious career, or will they all have just petered out? There's only one way to find out. Keep watching. And don't forget, guys, if you like what you see, drop a like, drop a notification bell, click to subscribe, and if you comment, let me know who you'd like to see done in the future. Thanks a lot. Enjoy. So here we are, guys. Now, the year is 2030. How have the Norwich boys been getting on? Let's firstly take ourselves to the big name. Max Aarons. No international cap still, but after that fateful move to Liverpool from Norwich for 16.5 mil, he got the move to Porto, 13 mil, and has been a first team regular ever since. Picking up a couple of goals every season, picking up a few assists as well, but those average ratings, when you bear in mind his first season at 7.25 was the worst average rating he's had. And since then he's progressed and progressed. Max Aarons is hitting form. He is proving his worth. £25 million value now. Surely it's only a matter of time before some England caps come, you would think. But he is 30. He is one of the older guys in the save. Josh Martin. Again, we know Josh Martin doesn't come up on that first search. And that's how low it is. Still at Coventry. So Josh Martin's been at Coventry for a while now. After the move to Swansea, where he done all right in the first season there, but thereafter he kind of tailed off drastically. Only played half of the season. Actually, he got a move to Coventry. Sorry, from Swansea, he got a move to Coventry after the first few games of the season, and done all right. But the last two seasons, he's really picked up. Over 7 average ratings, 11 assists last season, only 2 goals, but 11 assists. No international caps. You wouldn't expect him to be pushing on there now. Coming towards the end of his career, he's 28. But he's not going to get into that international team now unless something miraculous happens over the next year or so. But at a value now of 7.75 million. Next up, we'll look at Andrew Omobamidele. Again, a player who initially looked like he was going to be amazing. Left Norwich very early and went to Udinese. Udinese loaned him out to Vicenza, and then obviously he went to Watford. 3.3 million. Never played a game. He went to Hull. Played 9 games. Then went to Swansea. Played 9 games. He's since found himself in America, where, playing for Orlando City, he's done very well. 7 average rating, 7.05, 6.82 this season. You'd expect more from a guy who had such high potential rating at the start. But it's not all bad. He still built a decent career out of it. 3 caps for Ireland. And he is 28 years old. Andrew Omobamidele. Finally, Bali Mumba. So Bali Mumba now finds himself at at Charlton. And this is a fall. He looked like he was going to be a good player. Played in the Prem for a couple of seasons. Still got appearances after we stepped away. But then it went downhill. We got the move to Forest. That didn't go particularly well. He then went for under 100 grand to Wickham. And again, didn't really perform. But Cardiff picked him up in the Championship. Had a half decent season and now he's at Charlton again in the Championship. Once again, Bali Mumba, not going to be getting any international caps. 28 years old. Is the Championship his peak? It certainly looks that way at the moment. But there's only one way to find out whether these guys are going to progress anymore. And that's waiting for us to progress another 5 years and see where they're at. After those 5 years, we will literally just draw into their retirement process and see. Catch us on the other side, guys. Stick around. So here we are, guys. It's 2038. Every one of the Norwich players that we have been tracking has either retired or is about to retire. Let's see how they've got on within those careers and see if any of them have actually met the potential that was there initially. We'll start with Barley Mumba. Barley Mumba. Long way down the list now. Last time we looked, he was the first to retire at the age of 33. He was set then to be director of football. That gig never came up. Barley Mumba is now just out of the game. 1 trophy to his name and a record that is not great. If we have a look, we can't see his career stats, but we can see down here the summary of what's happened. And it's been loan moves, it's been deals here, there and everywhere, but he's never really pushed on. And in the end, the Championship was the highest level, and the MLS, the highest levels that he ever really attained. No under 21 caps, no full caps. It was a career that promised a lot, but never really delivered. And I think part of the problem there was his best position was possibly as a centre midfielder, but he seemed to spend a lot of time playing at right back. And it just didn't work out. Next up, we have got Josh Martin. So, Josh Martin now looking at a gig as a manager. Having retired from playing for Legia Warsaw in 2036. So a longish career, especially for a winger. And actually, it wasn't a bad one either. When you bear in mind he left Norwich, he was only a bit part player. He went off on loan to the MLS, then to Swansea, Coventry, and then Legia Warsaw played nearly 5.5 million in the end for him. 525 was the end cost. But actually, his stats there aren't too bad. Just under the 7s on a regular basis, with goals and assists floating around as well. I think the biggest disappointment in this setup for Josh Martin is when you look at his end goals, and he won the leasing.com trophy with Coventry, and that was really it. Promotion to the from the Sky Bet Championship with Norwich, but then relegations a couple of times. He's not won really anything, and especially at Legia Warsaw, being one of the bigger clubs in Poland, you would have expected him to pick up more. So is it a little bit of an end disappointment for Josh Murphy? Maybe. Next up, we will have a look at Andrew Omobamidele. Still playing, now at Sacramento in America, after a lot of years at Orlando City. Almost 10 years at Orlando City in the MLS. And I'll be honest, he's found his feet there. And had a relatively good career in the MLS. Never really progressed much more. And I'm not going to lie, there were big things expected of Andrew Omobamidele. But it just never really happened for him fully. And the MLS, maybe the Championship, well, not even the Championship, looking at the games he played, but the MLS was definitely a place where he flourished. And in the end, got it back into the Ireland squad and made an additional 7 appearances. So he had 3 caps when he went to the MLS. He's ended up with 10. Finally, with Norwich, we were following the path of Max Aarons, who again has now retired. Age 35, retired while playing for Wolves. Again, he had some big deals going on. He went to Liverpool for a fair amount of money, but didn't really do well. Played 3 games in a season and that was it. But then went to Porto. And I mean, look at that. For a right back, 192 games, 17 goals. There was a lot of assists in there as well. Went to Wolves again for 11.5 million as a 32-year-old. And carried on delivering for another few years. 80 appearances. Only 1 goal, but 80 appearances. Collected up 4 trophies. Bizarrely didn't win anything whilst at Porto. So in the 8 years there, 6 years at Porto, they did not win the league once and they did not win any cups, which is hard to believe, bearing in mind it seems to be shared between them, Sporting and Benfica, but Porto obviously dropped off significantly. But Max Aarons, career-wise, was it a good one? Or could it have been better? No England caps. We have seen their careers. We've seen how they've progressed. Or, in some cases, not progressed. And maybe regressed a little bit. Who do we think? Who do you think has had the best career? Was it Andrew Omobamidele? Was it Bali Mumba? Was it Josh Martin? Or was it Max Aarons? Now, from a personal point of view, I think the late bloomer in it would have been Josh Martin. I think, obviously, he had an average career in the Championship, but then went to the top team, or one of the top teams in Poland, at Legia Warsaw. The biggest shock for me was that he didn't win anything there. Absolutely no trophies with Legia Warsaw. So, you know, that is someone who had mediocre moves, and then he picked up a £5.25 million move to Poland. So obviously he was doing the right things and actually done well in Poland. Bali Mumba. As I said during the main video, I feel for him. I think a majority of the time he was played out of position. If you look at some of the stats he got when he was playing for Norwich and we were dictating what he was doing, he was playing as a centre midfielder and his stats weren't hideous. They were all right. But he's moved on and he's moved on and his career just petered out in the end. It just never really reached any kind of level that was expected. I really genuinely had high hopes as well for Andrew Omobamidele. When we were still controlling Norwich and I realised he'd turned down a contract and had gone to Udinese, I thought, well, do you know what? This guy's going to kick on. And he barely kicked a ball for him and went out on loan into Serie B for a season. And you think, well, okay, that's fair enough. And then the standard process of Udinese players, Watford hit the Prem, he goes to Watford. Standard switch between the two in real life. And he just never really kicked on from there. And it was just, he flattered to deceive for a while, but found his feet at Orlando City and had a fantastic career in America in the end. And we know he's not finished yet, but that retirement is coming within the next couple of months. Max Aarons, again, we expected him to do well. I think the biggest disappointment was he got that move to Liverpool and only played 3 games over the course of a season. He then went to Porto and had a fantastic career at Porto, but again, didn't win anything, which is a massive shock. If you're going to a club the size of Porto in Portugal, you expect to be winning the league or a cup or something. And nothing came. And then the move to Wolves at the age of 32. Again for a big fee, but consistently delivering again for Wolves for a few years. I mean, I'd like to say this was a hard pick, but actually a lot of these guys have flattered to deceive and just never really got to where they looked like they could initially, apart from Max Aarons. And for that reason, he is my pick of the Norwich guys. He will set you back. He will cost you a bomb. But he probably is worth it. But if you're on a shoestring budget and you get these other guys in and then train them well, I have no doubt that these guys could be an asset to your club and make you a profit if you get in early and do a deal.